wants to look the other way are misleading it. They're misleading us. Year after year, we graduate less than 50%. Year after year, we have high percentages of schools in these districts which fail in every standardized test in every category. Year after year, it's like Groundhog Day, the movie. We go through the same experiences and the same disgust. And this one element, this horror of our education is responsible for how much of our social ills in our communities. The drugs, the killings, the crime. It's got to stop. Mrs. Reed down in Washington illustrated what a true believer can do. And yes, she laid off 300 incompetent teachers who couldn't do the job. And she was buying back tenure from the teachers. And the establishment got mad. They didn't like that. They didn't like that intrusion on their bailiwick. So what do? In the primary, they put up a candidate and they went against the mayor who was supporting Mrs. Ree, and they took him out. It's a disgusting situation. It's a cabal, and we're going to do something about it. We're going to better educate all of our children. We're going to take everybody along with us. So thank you, sir.
Question says, does the government really have enough clout to cut taxes and spending without votes and backing of the legislature?
Our legislature refuses to make hard decisions. In the past 2 years, they raised our taxes and fees by $15 billion. In those same two budgets, they were unable to find even one government employee to lay off. 198,341 of them, and they couldn't find one to lay off. There's probably a few of them out there right now. We have to lower the burden. We have to cut the burden. I've pledged to cut state spending by 20%. Now that's not an across-the-board thing. It's a composition of a number of different efforts. In some cases, we have entire agencies that don't have a meaning in the 21st century. In other cases, we have divisions and directorates of different agencies and authorities in the state that we don't need anymore. But they've been allowed to continue because the progressive movement that controls our government believes in an expansion of government, a constant expansion of government. No matter how much money we make available to them, they will spend every nickel. The mental state in these different divisions and authorities is such that their goal every year is to spend every nickel that they've been allocated so that they can ask for an increase next year. It's a terrible mental state. There's no interest, as there is in the private sector, in operating cost efficiently. That's what we're going to bring. We're going to bring an effort to streamline our government and make it cost productive. We're going to bring the best industrial engineers and public administration graduates that we can find into government, and we're going to grow and we're going to streamline every agency and every authority in our New York State government. In addition, we're going to get at the Medicaid costs. The Medicaid costs are absolutely out of sight. And you saw in the last 2 weeks, once again, the health department came out and they loosened up the requirements. They loosened them. The fraud, waste, and abuse has been estimated by the county executives that I've talked to at anywhere from 10% to 40% of the entire Medicaid budget. And that fraud, waste, and abuse, my opponent has found he doesn't have to investigate it. He just chases around some of the providers and he chases around some of the insurance companies, but he refuses to get down there and encourage the local DAs or his local offices to prosecute fraud, waste, and abuse. As a result, just think about this. If you want to apply for Medicaid today, you can apply for it on the telephone. You can apply on the phone. You don't even have to show up and show them identification of who you are. How terrible is that? We have residents in the city of Buffalo. A Buffalo news reporter stumbled across this little example of how bad it is. They treat cigarette smoking as something as addiction for the Medicaid people if they smoke cigarettes. So they allow them transportation to go and buy cigarettes, but they don't buy the cigarettes for them. So typically, a city resident in Buffalo will take a cab out to the Seneca Nation, 40 miles in each direction, to save $10 on buying a carton of cigarettes, and send the $80 cab bill to the county, and the county pays it. Isn't it a little bit off the wall? That kind of a situation permeates the entire Medicaid program. It's everywhere. Medicaid is out of control. We are the highest by 100% over the next highest state, California, per capita. The highest per capita by 100%. Why? Why did we choose that? Why do we allow it? What sense does it make? Why do we want to have the most liberal Medicaid and social welfare benefits in America? In America, because of the 14th Amendment, people have a right to travel. And anybody can come to the state of New York and declare that they are a resident. Well, being a resident and being a real resident, or coming in under emergency, what they call emergency provisions of the Medicaid laws and rules and regulations. Somebody can come in here just to get an operation, and it happens. Somebody can come in here and just go up to the Medicaid office and say, hey, I need money. One of the interesting rules, I didn't bring that sheet with me, one of the most interesting rules that I've seen is that if you've mismanaged your money, Medicaid will replace it. Okay, so listen to this one. How about, yes, ma'am, I mismanaged my money. I went to OTB and I bet on the horses. Oh, let me give you the money back. Think about this. How ridiculous is it? You want to know how they spent $52 billion last year? That's part of it right there. $52 billion. And they loosened up the rules. We're going to tighten up the rules.
Well, I'm stuck between two questions here. One would be, what do you have planned for senior citizens? And the other one is, what is your position on medical marijuana? You can decide which one you choose.
I think we'll let the people of the state, if they ever want to vote on medical marijuana, it's up to them to vote on such an issue. As for what are we going to do for the elderly? We're going to take care of them, because that's where we're from. What did they teach us when we were kids? What did our parents teach us? You work hard. You go to school. You study hard. You get out of school and you go get a nice job, hopefully in something fulfilling to you. And things will be all right. You take care of your parents when they get old. And there's no greater counsel than can be given by a grandparent to a grandchild. That's what we were taught. We'll never get away from that. We're going to take care of our parents. We're going to take care of our grandparents. Yes, and we won't let them fall between the cracks.
Thank you, sir. This person says, I've been learning about you for the past few months. that New York needs to be cleaned out. But what about Mr. Edwards? Is he pro-life, pro-traditional family, pro-Second Amendment also? Thank you.
I know he's pro-life. He's pro-Second Amendment. And what was the other one?
Oh, pro-family. Pro-family issues? I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah. He's got some wonderful kids, and he was telling me, we were talking the other night in the car about how difficult it is when you're out here campaigning and the kids want to see you and they want to be, when you're a homebody type of person and you have to do this thing. He's a wonderful man. I hope you can see the pattern. Things are falling into place. For me to have lucked out and got a guy like Greg Edwards, I mean, he just fits the groove perfectly. He's the guy that's going to help me because he brings with him the knowledge of being a county executive in upstate New York. He brings a tremendous knowledge about what's wrong in Albany, and he has the same feelings. And we make a good team. So I'm looking forward to working with him, and he's out there in that bus now. He's traveling around with the state chair, and they're doing the same thing we're doing. So.
Okay, thank you, sir. This question says, do you plan on eliminating the STAR program?
I want to eliminate the taxes altogether. We'll never get to that. The STAR program, the way it's designed, is a little bit ridiculous. Just before Election Day, they send you a check. It's very, I think it's demeaning to the people. The people expect a little better. There's an easier way to do it, just lower the taxes. Of course, well, for those who don't know me, my opponent says, cut taxes. Excuse me. My opponent says, cap the taxes. He wants to lessen the rate of increase on the taxes. And I say, we're going to cut the taxes. We're going to cut the taxes in the first year, in the second year, in the third year, and in the fourth year of the administration. We're going to push legislation that will require a 60% majority in order to raise the taxes in the future after I'm gone. We're going to push that because the people should know, and they should be aware of the reasons for passing taxes. So let me just speak to that issue for a second. You watched the theater of a budget exercise in the last 2 years. Somewhat amusing. Early on, they knew they had an uphill fight because they raised taxes last year by $10 billion. And now they were facing a $9 billion deficit. And you all remember that discussion was taking place in the press. Some enlightened people in the press figured out that this deficit was a major concern to the people. But what happened? As we went down the road, and after the day that the budget should have been finished on March 31st, the press kept pressing on it. How are they taking care of this deficit? What's being done? What's being done? But after